you want to change New York City, forget the mayor for now. You need your city council member first. They're like the neighborhood superhero or supervillain, depending if you voted for them or not. But most of us don't even know who they are, regardless of if they're good or bad. The city council might be New York City's best kept secret, but their decisions are everywhere. And today, we're breaking down why these people are so powerful. So, understanding New York City's city council. What the city council actually does. So the city council is New York City's legislative branch, which sounds boring, but here's what it really means. They pass the laws that control your rent, fund your kids' school lunches, and decide whether your trash gets picked up on time, or if at all. Here's what else they do though. 1. Lawmaking. When you hear rent control, think city council. Back in 2019, they helped pass stronger protections for tenants, capping rent hikes and limiting evictions. But this year, rents are rising again. Some council members are pushing for new caps, while others are siding with the landlords, claiming stricter laws would kill development, as if we need to develop more housing. Anyway, take District 10 in Upper Manhattan, for example. Tenants were fighting a landlord trying to evict them for luxury renovations. Their council members stepped in, spotlighted the case, and passed legislation to make renoviction harder. That's the power of city council in action. They do budget approvals. Every year, the city council reviews and approves New York City's $100 billion budget. They decide if that money goes to schools or police, housing or parks. Here's the kicker. If you think your library is closing early or your local pool's not getting fixed, it's your city council member's call to do that. So, do you go to the library on Sunday? Hit up your city council member and let them know you need that thing so you can get your homework done. And if it wasn't clear already, this is how your city council member impacts you directly. This is where it gets personal. Your city council members' decisions aren't just like numbers on a spreadsheet. They're felt directly on your block, libraries, parks, trash pickup. Remember that new playground on Myrtle Ave? Or when the trash piled up for weeks in Queens during budget cuts? Do you remember that? Probably not. Well, that's city council. They control funding for local services that keep neighborhoods running. And here's an example of this. So during COVID, District 33 in Brooklyn fought to keep libraries open when funding was cut. Community leaders and the council member banded together to restore funding, turning libraries into free Wi-Fi hubs for remote learning. That's pretty cool, right? Well, meanwhile, other districts with disengaged reps, the ones you probably don't know about, they didn't fare as well. And here's the biggest one. Rezonings. When developers propose new buildings, whether they're luxury condos or affordable housing, your council member decides if it gets approved. The results shape your rent, your skyline, and who stays in your neighborhood. Gentrification. Here's the thing. The city council, though, isn't a monolith. It's 51 members with wildly different priorities. Progressives, moderates, Republicans, MAGA, yes, Trump supporters are in city council. That means every vote comes down to razor-thin margins. It becomes very important for you to be engaged when it comes to things like this. And a key example of this, in 2021, a city council vote on NYPD funding came down to one swing district. Can you imagine that? The entire police budget, you know, the NYPD that everybody hates, that says it's aligned with Israel, their budget was decided by a handful of votes in one swing district. That's why every single council seat matters, because these things that you think are so out of reach really comes down to the fact that 20% of New York City's registered voters actually turn out for local elections. So when you have a problem with the government, you gotta ask yourself, did you do anything about it? Did you encourage anybody else to do anything about it? Or are you an innocent bystander that is reacting on Instagram? The city council isn't just like another layer of bureaucracy. They aren't people that don't get stuff done. They're the most direct line to your change. Your block, your rent, your schools, it all starts with them. And in 2025, all 51 seats are up for grabs. The question is, who's going to fight for your neighborhood? Do you know? If you don't, that's okay. You can follow along as we break down the candidates, the districts, and the issues that matter the most to you, the New Yorker.